Hey writers, welcome. This is a little impromptu live write in. It is Furious Fiction, which is a wonderful competition that happens seasonally here in Australia, but you can enter worldwide. So it is, I'll put the links in the comments below, but let me just share with you what they have to say about it. Here, there we go. So this is the competition. You have currently 1 day, 14 hours, 27 minutes, and 44 seconds left to enter this competition. So here is the rules for this quarter. They used to be monthly. I myself have been longlisted, and one of my stories has been published, and I'll grab you the details for that as well in just a little bit. But oops, sorry, that's not what I meant to do. I'm going to be working on my story about this, but I just wanted to let you in so you can work on yours as well. So you're going to need to have a 12-word opening sentence. You're going to need to have something that is secondhand, sold at a yard sale, that sort of thing. And you need to include 5 words that end in ICE, like nice or rice or lice. And that is the go. So this is I've got my idea. I don't know if you've got your idea. But basically what they recommend is that you write and leave it a bit and come back and edit. So we have just a little over a day and a half left, or a little under a day and a half left, I guess. No, over. And we can go away and come back even tomorrow and edit. I never submit early. They say they get a lot of stories that are submitted really fast, but they rarely win. So there's a little hint from me to you. You can also go and you can read some of their previous winning stories down here. My stories, because they're long listed, have not been published here, but I will put the link as soon as I find it to to the book. It is called Venus Ascending or Venus Rising, and it's one of many stories that is in there, and all the proceeds go to charity. So I will put that link. But first, let's get a timer going, maybe, and start writing. Oh, hey, cool gamer. How you doing? All right, let's get a timer going. This is a new one.
And do you find a video like that that may not perform as well, does that have any impact on the performance of your next more general video?
So it all goes back to impressions again. So what you tend to find is when you go through like big growth, and you can see it in your data, you can see this blue line, which is new audience, and then your purple line, which is return viewers. If I get a big spike in new viewers, I can get more impressions on release of my next video with a lower click-through rate. Okay. Now, it's almost like YouTube saying, yes, we've got a bigger pool of people to test your stuff with. So when I was growing at 2,000 subscribers a day, I put out a video now that after that just would have died. It had a rubbish click-through rate, but YouTube gave it was like my best performing video at that time. It just flew. In fact, all of them did whilst I was growing really quick. And then as the new audience slowed down, it was almost like the unique pool of people got smaller and smaller, less people returned to the content, and then it felt like, oh man, I get the best retention and best click-through rates I've ever had, and maybe YouTube's not pushing me quite as much. So that's what I've found, but I don't know if that's necessarily true across the board, and I'm kind of always a bit careful because I know that the big entertainment channels out there can have breakouts all the time. So a breakout meaning if you go and look at a YouTube channel who's got as the thumbnail set up the context as to like who this is for and created some more intrigue. I think, and this is tough and most people don't like doing this, the first thing is to accept that your idea is boring and it's very unclickable. And that's the first thing I do every time. I'm like, what do I want to talk about? Okay, I want to stop making search terms in the hope that YouTube shows those 1,000 people some more of my videos and the kind of more interesting topic. When they see it on the homepage, they go, that's interesting, click on it and come back. So it's not a magic number, it's just what I tested and it seemed to work. So you really need some sort of audience there in your data before you make a switch. And then you don't have to jump, and you can go between different types of content. But the problem with search is it's always new. It's like, make something to find new people, not how do I bring the community back. And for me, that's what YouTube's about, building a community. So step one, use search, for sure. But once you've started to get some traction, test this sort of more human interest-based content that isn't saying exactly what a video is about, because people don't tend to click on that because it's not that interesting compared to like Mr. Beast doing something amazing on the homepage. And then you got to sort of keep pushing yourself because the home page is kind of where the best creators in the world hang out.
Yeah, so exactly.
Whoever's watching your video, no matter, they're going to watch tons of other creators. So when YouTube puts your video on the homepage next to these best creators in the world, you've got to get a click against people who have teams of 100 people working on their channel. It's not a level playing field, and that means you really have to understand your audience and understand what it is they care about and then how to package your content. And that takes practice. And actually, it's nearly the exact opposite of search. Search is just right what this is about. The homepage is kind of about how push. But really, it was just a story that was interesting. And I remember when I released it being like, oh man, this did rubbish. Like, I can't believe I thought this was going to do so well. I've never seen anyone do this before. And then 2 weeks later, picking up 2,000 subscribers a day. So there's so much going on with YouTube, and that's what makes it so hard. It's like it's impossible really for people to know exactly what metric they need. The best thing we can do is try and keep improving on the basics. But impressions is something that people don't focus on enough. And actually, I get a lot of comments, people going, oh, my best performing video %. And I'll look and be like, yeah, but that video got you 5 million impressions. YouTube pushed it more than the others. So they're kind of measuring the wrong metrics as well. So it's never as black and white with retention. And actually, my worst retention video has done the best. It didn't do very well compared to the previous videos, but it did something right because YouTube kept pushing it, and then it got more and more impressions. And the retention, it's never as black and white with retention. And actually, my worst retention video has done the best. It didn't do very well compared to the previous videos, but it did something right because YouTube kept pushing it, and then it got more and more impressions. And it's never as black and white with retention. And actually, my worst retention video has done the best. It didn't do very well compared to the previous videos, but it did something right because YouTube kept pushing it, and then it got more and more impressions. And it's never as black and white with retention. And actually, my worst retention video has done the best. It didn't do very well compared to the previous videos, but it did something right because YouTube kept pushing it, and then it got more and more impressions. And it's never as black and white with retention. And actually, my worst retention video has done the best. It didn't do very well compared to the previous videos, but it did something right because YouTube kept pushing it, and then it got more and more. It's never black and white with retention. And actually, my worst retention video has done the best. It didn't do very well compared to the previous videos, but it did something right because YouTube kept pushing it, and then it got more and more impressions, and the retention dropped even more. And you'd look at it now, and I'd say this video has a click-through rate of 2%, and the retention of 35%, but it's got 1.5 million views.
Wow.
So, you know, when you talk about these metrics, it's not a case of would be the key to make the audience. That's from Jairi. I'm dying to do product reviews because you can have so much fun. It literally doesn't matter what you're talking about. You could make anything interesting. And the key to do that is to firstly work out what the interesting thing about the product is. Even if they're dull products, the result something can have is often the most interesting thing. So you've got to work out, why do people really want to buy this? And then you've got to think, how do I show that result? How do I show them the thing that they are most excited about, rather than just sit there telling them? And that might be a challenge. So for example, if a camera came out and Sony was saying it had amazing battery life, I'd say, right, to try and prove this, we're going to go into the mountains for a week with one battery, and we're going to try and film a whole entire YouTube video. Suddenly it becomes a challenge, and then you can start to give the nitty-gritty details, but you've got to show people what makes this interesting, and that means you can't just sit there talking about it. Should you ever include a logo in the intro? It's from LJ. No, never. Just never do that. You cannot have it. It'll wreck your attention, and it's annoying. Next question. More content or perfectionism? It's from Simon. Neither is the answer to that. What we're going to do is improve with every video we make. We're not striving for perfection. Firstly, because not many of us can hit perfection. In fact, I don't think anyone can. So you're trying to get something that is just completely unobtainable. But also, James, who works for me, I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, he's a perfectionist, and he cannot post videos to his YouTube channel because he obsesses over light, he obsesses over editing. Everything takes hours and hours and hours. So I have to say to him, please do not give this 100%. There's a great problem because a lot of people you work for, you're like, give me 150, because maybe they might be a little lazy, or they might not be pushing themselves, and can't get anywhere on this platform without releasing videos, and it really does hold people back. The perfectionism procrastination habit. So there's been quite a few messages I've got about perfectionism. So I want to tell you something. My most viewed video, which is going up to 2 million views, I'm out of focus the entire video. When it cuts to me, I'm out of focus. And I shot it at my studio that I used to have and got back, and I was like, the autofocus had locked onto something else. And I thought, screw it, I'm just going to post it. And that video changed my life. And I've never been a perfectionist in that certain things I do like to obsess over, but I know that people are watching things on a phone, and actually most people would never even notice that. And even if they did, who cares? As long as the rest of the content's good, then so what? But also the cool thing about that was, it forced me to use more B-roll, which made the video more interesting. If you are struggling with perfectionism, I think what you need to look more at is, why do you think it needs to be perfect? Is this a fear of being judged? And also, who's judging you? So I say to James all the time, when he's editing something for me, I'm like, remember, we're not making videos for professional producers who know everything about cameras and YouTube. We're making videos for people who need to learn how to grow. They're not going to notice that the light wasn't quite perfect around my ear. And if they do, it's probably not quite the right channel for them. So you're not necessarily getting judged in the way you think you are. And because you spend so much time locked on looking at things, you notice things people don't. You got to just accept that no one wants perfect. What they would rather is something very good and the ability for you to keep putting content out so you can keep improving, and then that way you'll get around it. But also, if you're procrastinating, it probably means you're not enjoying part of it. I tend to find I procrastinate over the things I don't want to do, so you might want to look at trying to outsource anything that you procrastinate on, and that could solve it too.
Yeah, yes? Yep. Take a hat.
your business online? Go to Wix.com and get your site up and running with a
God shield, I should stir the motion.
Hey everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome to Ms. Mojo. Today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 movie and TV moments that made us love Paul Rudd.
Hey, in some parts of the universe, it's maybe not in contempo casual, but in some parts, it's considered cool to know what's going on in the world. Oh, God.
What's up, regular size man?
I have to go to this other chair. Oh, this is a better energy.
For this list, we're looking at each and every time Paul made us fall ever so slightly more in love with him. If we missed your favorite Rudd moment, be sure to let us know about it in the comments. All right, let's get into it. Number 10, Robert De Niro impression, Knocked Up. Any comic actor worth their salt has probably got a good De Niro impression in their arsenal.
My shoes, yeah, there's all this baby goo on it.
Paul Rudd is no exception. In 2007's Knocked Up, he gets the chance to show it off. Over a slightly over their mutual love of
All right. So, how are you going with your writing sprints and everything? So, this is so exciting. I love doing this. It's a great challenge. It keeps me writing short stories, and I have a backlog of short stories that I can submit, like I did to Venus Rising, and got accepted, which was great, and it was great to be part of that project. I'll pop the link below in the comments. But thank you for joining me. And keep writing. And remember, you have about 14 hours left from the time of recording this to get your submission in. Make sure it's polished, make sure there's no errors, and make sure you follow the rules. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next one.